It's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue. How are you? Good morning. It's a sleepy Monday morning of a holiday weekend. Canadian Thanksgiving and Indigenous People Day, which is lovely. I wanted to have a show today, so I thought, considering all the changes and everything with Columbus Day and everything, that we would start talking about vintage images. I am a huge fan of vintage anything, and I started playing around a couple years ago, with some vintage images, and I really feel like I've just scratched the surface, and I wanted to show you kind of what my technique is in terms of finding the images and also sort of importing them into Design Space. A lot of times I use my iPad for this, but I do also use my Macintosh, so I will show you kind of how I do it with both things. And I want to, kind of dig a little deeper into finding images that are not copyright protected and that are not watermarked and that are good, clear images. I don't think that we'll get real deep into what to do with these images just yet. Good morning, Leslie. I don't think we'll get a chance to, start playing around too much with the images. I have created a very simple card that uses an image, and I will give you that file so that you can see, and I'll show you how I did it, so you can see sort of how I came up with it. But good morning. Hi, Diane. So good morning to everyone. Hi, Teresa. Oh yeah, nice to see you. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, I should just say. And let's just kind of recap before we get started. We had a very busy weekend. I'm feeling it, so I'm pretty tired today. On Saturday, we had a Zoom call, which was really great. A couple of hours, at least 3 hours long. If you want to be part of the Zoom call, definitely let me know. We've decided that we're not going to record them, that we were just going to just have them for anybody that wants to come on. So we decided that would be best because everybody wants to just kind of, let their hair down and chat. So if you are looking for the video for that, we're not going to be posting that. We are, though, starting a series, or I am starting a series with my friend in downtown Peabody, Wendy Latoff, in Create and Escape in Peabody Square on Main Street. In Peabody has opened up her studio for us, and we are collaborating on a project where every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, approximately 10 o'clock, it might change slightly depending on her schedule, but every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, we're going to be doing a sort of bigger than a paper project. So this past Sunday, we did a doormat that says, "Welcome. I hope you like corgis," which she can have kits available, put kits available for you, or she can actually custom make them for you. Or you can just tune in to watch her technique because she's, professional. She's been doing this for years now, and she does all these enormous signs. So we've done like a hocus pocus sign, and we just did the doormat. And then next Sunday, we are doing a pumpkin pour. So that is going to be like with a craft pumpkin, and we're using paint and pouring on it. And then because it's a Cricut related craft, we're going to experiment with some vinyl on the pumpkin pour. I think that would be really fun. So that's next Sunday. This coming Friday, though, is our second product specialist gathering. So that's when on YouTube Live, Melody Lane, myself, Carol Prevost, and Abigail from Sassy Renita Crafts get together. And this time, instead of just being a sort of, chit chat, we are challenging ourselves. There's going to be a challenge, and you're welcome to follow along with that and see what we create in a certain time frame. I don't know all the details of the challenge, and I got to tell you, I'm a little bit scared. I was actually up pretty late last night thinking up some ideas on what kind of craft that I'm going to make. Obviously I'm going to work with paper, and it's going to be Halloween themed, but I don't know anything else about it, like what colors, are there certain shapes that we're supposed to use. So of course I was racking my brain all night long. I ended up on like The Wizard of Oz because one of my favorite movies. And okay, teddy bear. And so, I'm like, nah, I can't do Wizard of Oz. But then I started thinking, well, maybe I will do some print and cut. I don't know. So I'm still sort of, in my head trying to figure out what to do for Friday night. So I think that will be a lot of fun. I hope that you can join us. If you want to be reminded of that, you just need to go to Melody Lane's YouTube channel, and you can set a reminder on that link. I can post that link for you, and I hope to see you there because I think it will be a whole lot of fun. So that is Friday night. Good morning, Lori. And then what's the other thing? Oh, our October giveaway is going on now for the next, 12 days or so. We are giving away a Cricut Mug Press plus $50 worth of Cricut Infusible Ink, which is what you use on the mug press. And so one lucky winner in October is going to be able to win a Cricut Mug Press. And all they have to do is follow my channels. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. If you're already following me and you want to get your name in again, then you just have to like, comment, share, tell your friends. Come on, we have a lot of fun here. Tell your friends. And that brings me to my last, before we get going, my last comment is that we hit 16,000 followers actually last week, and I just neglected to tell you. So I wanted to thank you all for continuing to share about who we are and all of that. So thank you. I'm trying to hit my year-end goal of 20,000 people. Hi, Paralita. Hi, Sarah. 20,000 people on YouTube. And I think I can do it with your help. So I'm hoping to get your help on that. And that's just, if you like what you get to see, whether you can come on a regular basis or not, if you like what you find here, and I hope that you do, then tell some friends. Tell some friends to join me. Even if they're already following, other people, they can still follow me. It's always fun. And they could enter to win as well. So we had a lovely, on our chat call on Saturday night, we got to meet Kathy Crowley's friend, and she had some amazing crafts. So it's always nice to expand your friendship circle, and that is what this group is about. We're not competitive. We just like to when what's out there. I'm sorry, it's hard to be relaxed though when it's out there. What's out there? Oh, it's important, and we talked about on Saturday night. We talked about this in depth about how during the pandemic, even though it was very isolating, a lot of us learned to reach out in different ways to develop friendships in different ways, whether it's on Zoom or through these chats or like YouTube, live video, whatever it might be, because humans are meant to interact with each other. And that's why this feels so uncomfortable, to keep our distance, to try to keep this terrible disease under control. Is it a disease, or I don't know what it is, but I know I am personally affected now because not only did my stepsister, whom I'd never had a lot of contact with since my father passed, but she died of COVID back at the beginning of the year. But now my brother-in-law is in the hospital with COVID, and he is a very stubborn person, so I don't think he's doing very well. And because he's way up in New Hampshire, I don't know. So I've got my prayers focused on them, my sister's family, because they all got COVID because they didn't get vaccinated for whatever reason, and now they have it. And so I am now feeling it very personally. So anyway, not to get off the topic, but yeah, I isolate a lot. I spend a lot of time at home, and it's so important to me this time to be with you. And I'm so thankful for you, and I so appreciate you talking about your experiences. My goal when I started this about 2 years ago was to keep myself busy during the pandemic, and also I had cancer at that time, so just to keep my mind off of all of the stuff that was going on, and just kind of make some new friends. I've made hundreds of new friends, and I love it. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. And let's move forward and maybe hit that 20,000 mark. And I also want to thank Cricut, of course, Cricut, for giving us the opportunity to have the giveaways, so we had a giveaway over on Sunday. Also, Rita won the Sunday before. There's also going to be giveaways on Friday night when we meet with the other product experts. So definitely tune in if you can. If not, catch the replays. Okay. So all right. Let's talk about vintage images. So, okay, since I was a little girl, I have been completely enamored with vintage ephemera. So that would be like cards and advertisements and things that are made vintage images. I never could figure out how to incorporate them into my crafts, except to, cut them out and like sort of paste them on things. But I just love them. There's something about some of the images are actually kind of creepy and very interesting comment of the times, and just some really beautiful things. A lot of little kid graphics. Some of the graphics, especially for Halloween, are kind of creepy. Like, I mean, the witches are pretty creepy, and yet then you have a lot of kids and happy smiling jack-o'-lanterns, and you'll start to see different things like a lot of poems and things like that. I do the same thing with Thanksgiving and at Christmas. Now, I haven't figured out how to really use them like in sort of a mixed media way. And that's where I'm going to call on you for your help and ideas. But I do troll print Pinterest all the time, and that's where I tend to find a lot of my images. So we're going to go to Pinterest. And if you don't know what Pinterest is, it's kind of basically a bulletin board for different ideas. Oh, by the way, we're going to be doing this square tissue box that was requested. I totally get that because I am like going through an allergy sinus infection or something, and I'm like going through tissues like crazy, and Lori does this great tissue box. There are other people that do tissue boxes, but this is the one I always come back to. So we're going to be doing that. So at any rate, head on over to Pinterest. If you've never seen Pinterest or you don't get it, because I don't really get it all that much. I mean, there are a lot of people that do a lot of advertising on Pinterest. It's become a bit of an advertising thing, but it's also still a great way to just kind of browse what's going on. If you want to look at like just different things, what's happening in the card world or in the Cricut world, you'll find a lot of bloggers use it as well. And there is a website that I'm going to show you, and that is actually called let's go over here. It's called the Graphics Fairy. Graphics Fairy. That's what it's called. This is another great place, thegraphicsfairy.com. Now they have a lot of images, tons of images. Some of them are free and some of them are part of a membership. So they do have a membership with tutorials, and I am not part of that membership, but you might find that you want to be, or maybe you've been a while, but it's for me, it's $10 a month, and I already get the Cricut membership. So for me, that's kind of like my, I get a little too membershiped out. So, but they do have a lot of free things. And so you can look for things here, but I think Pinterest is a good place to start. Also, just a Google search. When you're doing a Google search, this is a Google search, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how I do that. So I usually go to Google and I type in something like vintage Thanksgiving graphics or vintage Halloween graphics or Christmas, you get the idea. And what happens is under Google here, you see Google has like shopping because they're trying to become this destination, and images, videos, news. And I always go to the images section and I just start scrolling. Now I do this, at night, usually on my iPad, and it's kind of like it's just something to do while I'm watching TV and sort of just kind of, like looking around and stuff. And, some things don't interest me, but the things that I look for are, first of all, we have to talk about like copyright, because sometimes these images, even though they were made in the 1920s, 1930s, there are some people that have renewed copyrights on them, and then they sell the images to you, whether it's through Etsy or their own website. Hey, you guys. So you do need to be careful, and I am not advocating that you break any copyright laws with this, because there are literally hundreds of these images out there that are not copyrighted, and so you need to be careful of that, right? So these are the three main places that I would go. I go to Google, I go to Pinterest, I go to the Graphics Fairy, and I mostly do this on my iPad. So I have my iPad here just so you can see that this is what I indeed do. So here you go, these sort of things. And what I do normally, whether I'm on my iPad or on my on my computer is I look for an image that is not copyright protected, that I could maybe use for a card. So for me, I like the card shaped images an awful lot, but I also look for, let's see if this one here is a good one. So I also look for a high quality image, because we're going to do print then cut with these. Okay. And even though ours are not going to be this big, sometimes the image isn't really that good. And so we, even when you capture it, it can come off in the print and cut, not so great. So I would say, like, you know, of 10 images that I might find just a couple of them just don't work. So what I do is I actually go and I take photos, or I take screenshots of them from my iPad. This is what I do, you know, and again, you can do it any other way you like. But so if I find something, what I do is I just will, so this is the most recent one, but here's some cutesy one. So let's see, let's go to Pinterest, and we're just searching for, just do a search. Search for vintage. So here, Vintage Wizard of Oz. You see what I was talking about last night. I was like, oh, Vintage Wizard of Oz might be cool. So I'll come along and I'll look at these images, and you know, if it says Etsy, that sort of thing, I know that that's sort of protected, and I don't want to take people's images. But a lot of times, like this one's from the Graphics Fairy, and it doesn't have a copyright on it. So what I normally do here, if I'm on my iPad, is I take a screenshot of it. And for me on my iPad, I hold this button down and this top one, and I just click on it, and that gives me this screenshot. And then what I usually do is edit the screenshot just to include the graphic part of it. You see? And, you know, you don't have to make it completely clean graphic here, but here you go. There is a night. And then I'm going to hit done, and I'll save it to my photos. Then when I get around to going on to Design Space, I can do this, replace. I can go here to upload. All right. It's slightly different on my Mac. That's why I want to show you what I do here on the iPad. So I go to upload, and then I go to photo library, because I just took a screenshot, which is, it basically becomes a photo, right? So I go to photo library, and I go and look. I've got Christmas angels, I've got witches, and some pretty fun graphics, but some of the graphics aren't going to turn out so great. So here, this one is not going to turn out so great because of the way that the original image was done, sort of like a point, like little dot sort of thing for images. So I can't use that one, but I just would go through, do upload, select from my photo library, and then look at the image. And it might not look so great on the iPad, but what I've found out is even if it doesn't, you can still use it. So in this case, this one here of the sleeping woman with all the fairies around her, and a big theme for Halloween back in the 30s was you could find out who your true mate would be, your soul mate, that sort of thing. So there was a lot of that. Now I'm going to choose print then cut, and I'm going to name it. So I'm going to just call it Fairies Sleeping. I don't know, whatever. And then I'm going to save it. Once I do that, it goes into my image library. Now, let me show you how you do that on your computer. It's slightly different. So in this case, let's look at this one, this vintage Halloween witch wand. It says, and I don't know if you could see this, but oh, these like little goblins and ghosties, which is kind of cool, but they're calling them elves. And there's this great poem here, one touch of the wand and elves appear on Halloween, but have no fear. They only come for mischief and fun. The night is theirs till the rising sun, which is like really cool. I mean, like these cute little poems and everything. So what I would do if I found it here and I was on my, on my Macintosh, is I would do a screen capture. And on my Macintosh, now this might be different because if you have a different, type of computer, it's a Shift Command 3. And what that does is here you go. Here it is. It's just an image it's like a screenshot kind of thing. And then you can go ahead and start editing it from here. So you can edit it up here, do a crop, right? And so then you can start doing, I'm trying to crop it, because sometimes it's a little, okay, there we go. So I'm just grabbing the edges here and taking out the parts that I don't want. All right. And I have to go up here and get this down here somehow. And it takes a little bit, you might not get it on the first shot, but don't give up. But this is just a beautiful graphic, isn't it? It's really cool. I'm going to hit crop. Now, right now, this resides on my Macintosh, and my images that I do actually are on my desktop, I believe. So if I want to go and see that it's there, I can come to, here is the Finder tool, and I'm going to a desktop. Now, you can see here, there's my image. It's kind of small, but there's my image that I just did. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on over to Cricut Design Space, and you can either have a blank screen or be working on something. It doesn't matter. And then we're going to go over here to upload. Okay. So this is very similar to how we upload SVGs, except this is an image, okay? So an image usually has the file type of JPG or GIF, a JPEG, often called a JPEG, or a GIF or GIF, depends on how you were brought up, I suppose. There's also sometimes they come in PNGs and DXFs, okay? You want to stay away from .bmp, which are bitmaps. They don't come in very well, okay? So as I save them, it does save it, I believe, as a JPEG. So I'm going to go to Upload Images, and I'm going to do Browse again. And I am going to go looking for the picture that I just saved on my screen. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and my Mac's a bit slow. I gotta do something about it, but my Mac's a bit slow, and it sometimes takes a little bit of time for it to sort of get where it's going. But here's the one that I did. It probably will show up at the top. And all the other stuff, just screenshots and what have you. So I'm going to click on that and open. And you'll see, here's my image. Now, I kind of don't care about this background thing because this is going to be a print and cut. But if I did want to get rid of a background, this is where I could do it. And remember, coming soon to a computer near you, there's a beautiful background remover tool. I haven't got it yet, but I've seen it in action. It's pretty amazing. It's rolling out as we speak, and it's coming along with one of the updates. However, it is a Cricut Access only feature, okay? So if you want to use it, yet another reason why you should become a Cricut Access member. I do feel like it's really a good value. It works for me. But, if you don't find use out of it, I mean, almost all my projects I use Cricut Access. So for me, I just don't want to go searching for the perfect font, and then it takes away from the fun of crafting. So here we go. I chose print then cut. I am not obviously going to choose a cut image. I'm going to choose print then cut. So I'm going to hit continue. You see, this is what it would look like if it was just a cut image. Okay. And this is what the print then cut image looks like. That's the one we want. Okay. And we also want to rename this. So I think I would call this Witch's Wand with Elves. I don't know. And you could put tags here, whatever you want to do. And you're going to hit upload. Now, at this point, what happens is your images are here. So these are all the images just last night that I uploaded this exact same way. You see that? So these are all the images that I did. So for Halloween, but if you dig a little deeper into my library, you'll find the Thanksgiving ones, you'll find Christmas ones, and what have you. So it's slightly different than the ones that are on my Design Space. But if I upload it in Design Space, it will appear here. Okay, so that's really important to understand. So your images won't necessarily appear on your Macintosh, but if I uploaded to Design Space my image, which I did, this one and this one, I believe I uploaded in Design Space on my iPad, so it's going to be in my library. So your library is stagnant because I'm logging into my library, my Design Space app, using my account. So it doesn't matter where you're logging in, your account's going to be the same, right? So let's talk about how we can use these just a little bit. And yeah, me too. Let me take a drink. Hold on. So for right now, we're just going to create a card that is very simple and use these images. So you would pull them into your Design Space, and I've been, you guys know, I have two card sizes that I use all the time. This one here is called an A2. It's the same as the insert cards used in the Joy. I want to point out that the Joy cannot, nor will it ever be able to do print then cut, because print then cut is for sensors. You have to have sensors on your machine, and the Joy was not developed with sensors. Okay, so once I have these images that I'm playing around with, looks like I have a duplicate here, but once I have these images, I'm going to make a basic card. So to do that, you can do it a couple of different ways, but the easiest way for me is I just add a shape of a square. While I'm at it, I grab a score line. Okay, I'm going to move this over. So here's a shape of a square, and I don't know where my score line. Oh, here's my score line over here. Okay. So I'm going to unlock it, and I am going to turn it into the A2 version. So the width of an A2 is 8.5 inches, because folded it is 4.25 inches. It's important to remember this is an unfolded card, whereas on the Joy, you're using a folded card, okay? So 8.5 inches is going to be wide, and then the height is going to be 5.5 inches. Okay, so there's my card. I can color it whatever I want. Let's color it this color, just so you can see it better. And then I'm going to take my my score line, right? There's my score line, and I am going to cut it put it halfway through to this card. So it's 8.5. So at the 4.25 inch, 1, 2, 3, 4.25, which is right here, I'm going to stretch my score line a little bit so that it's on there. So this is how you make a basic card. So you don't have to, but you can, but you don't have to go and find a card that is the size or whatever. You don't have to do that. This is how you can create your own card base. Okay. So, so this is what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to select it and attach my score line. Now attaching is over here on the bottom. That's where that little paper clip is. So we're going to do that. And now I have a card. Now, why is this important to do this? Because these images can be rather heavy and big, and it takes a while to print them. So you kind of want to get an idea for sizing before you start printing things out, because they do tend to use a lot of ink on your printer and stuff. So I want to get an idea or a ballpark for what I want to do. So I'm also going to add a mat, a box for a mat. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So first of all, I'm going to bring one of my images here, and I want for it to have some space like all around there. And, you know, I might unlock it and sort of just kind of shape it out to where I want it. But to me, this seems, I want to have a background piece. So I think I'll make it slightly smaller. Okay. So this is going to be great because I want a little frame around it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to lock it back up, and then I'm going to go to offset, and I am going to choose the squared off corner at 0.25 inches and hit apply. That way I have a perfectly sized, not quite perfectly sized, but it's getting there, right? And I have this. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is when you do offset with a print then cut image, it's going to make the offset layer print then cut. But I don't want it to be print then cut, so I'm going to make sure it's selected, and I'm going up here to operation. Let me make sure that you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to go up here to operation, and then see how it says print then cut? All I need to do is change it back to cut basic, like this. If I wanted to get fancy and I had all the special tools and a maker, I could choose wavy or perforate, which those are your three choices for cutting when you have the maker, but you may not have all those tools. Wavy might actually look kind of vintagey, so that might work, but for everyone else, we'll just use the basic cut. And if you want to get an idea for colors, like I'm going to use patterned paper here on mine, but I might pick up on I kind of like this red or the orange, so maybe I'll switch it to kind of an orange and see how that looks, sort of like this. All right, and I really like this design. Now, granted, this is pretty basic, okay, but and there's ways that you can embellish this to the moon. And someone like Anna Griffin, she does sort of embellishing. You know, you could add rosettes and you know, fringe, or I don't know. You could do a whole lot of stuff. Glitter, everybody loves glitter, right? And that kind of thing. But this is basics, okay? We're still talking basics here. And so for me, I like this. So I'm going to group it together. I'm going to bring back my card, and I'm going to resize it as a group here, so I can make sure that it's going to fit with my actual card base. Now, if you wanted to add a an inside, an inscription or a sentiment, this is where you would do it. So you would take, this is your regular card, and you would do text, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on doing inscription, but this is where you would do it. And I have done it for my Thanksgiving ones. I haven't really gotten to doing it, so I'll show you this Thanksgiving one, which I did in a 5x7 inch size. And here is a really pretty inscription that I did. Near or far, you're always in our hearts, today and always. Happy Thanksgiving. And so this is an example of what you can do with these images. Same here. This is just that image, that vintage image. And then with a little piece of patterned, this has patterned cardstock, and then just the basic card. Now, you can go, you know, crazy with these, but you first have to understand how to work around it, you know, how to understand what you're doing, because you're kind of doing some graphic designing here. So that's what I'm trying to teach you here today. So, I'm going to just hide these, all these here, and so that way we can go ahead and show you how this will print. I don't need these things here. So you guys know I always print, I always cut 2 of everything, because just how I am. So this is, this particular image, the one that we're going to do, is going to end up in that print then cut frame. So, and the rest of them is going to just appear on the mat. So let me show you. I do need to make sure that my images stay in the parameter of 6 3/4 by 9 1/4. I think that's the maximum. So in this particular case, because it's A2 size, less than A2 size, I'm going to be able to get 2 of these onto one sheet. It's okay that it's going this way, okay? Now, this is going to actually be printed in my printer first, and it has this black line around it, and so that is for when the image has come out of my printer and I need to cut it very precisely with my Cricut. But then you also see here my mat 2. These are my this is my like mat, or my frame size, and then there's my cards. Okay, so I'm going to hit continue. And the first thing we're going to see when we get to that cutting page is this button that says send to printer. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to hit send to printer. Now I have a number of printers here. Not all of them work, but they all show up. And I'm going to choose my HP Envy, my good old HP that I get instant ink to, and it's always good in a pinch for me. So that's what I'm going to choose. And then I'm going to keep add bleed on. And the reason for that is I don't want any white to appear around my image, and by adding bleed it will keep the white out from being sort of like a shadow layer. And then I'm going to hit use system dialog, because I want to make sure I am printing on the highest quality setting as I can, and that's really important here. If you just print it on the basic way, so for me, I always choose, it's not just color, I choose color fine. Now these things will change depending on your printer, okay? But here it is, and I'm going to see down here I have quality is the best, and paper type I usually have brochure matte paper. Now what I've put into my printer is, let me grab some of it. Okay, it's regular cardstock that I got at Michael's. It's that Recollection cardstock that is 8.5 by 11. Do not get the heavyweight kind, okay? Because the heavyweight kind has trouble in the printers. But that's all this is. So it's a thicker cardstock. It's not going to get printed on a cheaper paper. And we're going to put that into the printer. In fact, I'll go over there and do it right now. So mine's in there, and I am going to hit print, and it will take its time and print. In the meantime, we'll create the rest of the card, okay? So it's doing that print. You have to tell Design Space that you're printing it. You have to print it from there in order for this to work. Now, if you wanted to print something, hi Shannon, if you wanted to print something on like this, but not using Design Space, that would be different. You'd probably end up having to hand cut these, but this is how it works with Design Space, okay? So while that's printing, I'm just going to go ahead and cut my two mats. So this mat is going to be, that's what this mat is, and I'm going to choose medium cardstock. I'm going to get my mat together. I got a nice piece of, let's use this. And I got to use some of my new cardstock that I got, that I showed you guys on Friday. So here's something from fall, the Fall Echo Park Paper Company. And let's grab that for the mat. And I am going to just cut it. It's a real basic cut. It's not anything fancy or frilly. Let's use this. This is kind of a wood. I think that's kind of cool. So we use that. And then for the basic card, I'll use a 12 by 12 sheet of orange that I have here. So let me bring you down so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So here's my, my 12 by 12 for my card base. And I'm going to use this for the card mat, like the offset layer around my card. And then I'm just going to go put it into my machine and cut it. So easy, right? Now, if you wanted to cut your card bases by hand, do it. If you like doing that stuff, absolutely do it. But if you want to use your Cricut to do it, this is how you would do it, okay? So this is what I mean by, like, you know, I'm not a big envelope person because I feel like I can just buy cheapo envelopes and that most people don't even keep the envelope, and so I want the card to be awesome. But some people might say, well, I don't want to create the card bases because it's kind of a waste of my cardstock, and which is true, I guess, but I like to be able to pick the color of my card base. Now, I have a maker, so I have the choice of using either my stylus or the scoring wheel. So over here, you can see here, I'm on this third mat and it's telling me that I need to load the single scoring wheel. Only I don't want to load my single scoring wheel. I just want to use my stylus because it's faster. So I'm going to choose the scoring stylus and hit apply. And now you'll see that that's changed. I have to have the scoring stylus in clamp A, which I do. And then I have to have my regular blade and housing in clamp B. So it's A, B, just so you know. So here we go. We have that, and we're going to hit the blinking C, and it is going to score first and then cut. These are really basic things, but I like to repeat them because sometimes people find us and we don't want to be too advanced, because we all had to start from scratch, so these are some basics that I kind of pepper in, even though I would consider this to be sort of an advanced class. Hey, so while that's cutting out, I'm going to scoot on over to my printer. And here is my results from the print and cut, okay? So you see I have this black box all around here. That box is for the sensors that are located right under clamp B. And you're going to see them in action when we get to do this. So now we've got our mat cut and our basic card cut. So we're going to take this printout. We're going to put it right up here on the corner like this. Make sure it's on there really well. And make sure on your screen that it is exactly the way that you printed it out. Okay? Yes, yes. Now, I have done it differently, so definitely follow. And it doesn't work, by the way, if you do it differently. Okay, so here we go. We're here. We're going to put this in. And when we hit the blinking C, which you can't see, here we go, you're going to notice that the machine will like basically pull the mat in and out, and there's the light. That's the sensor. So the sensor needs that square around it for it to understand how it's going to cut out these images. Now for this, you could certainly cut this out by hand or using your trimmer, but print and cut can be very, very specific. And if we had images that were not so square and they were jaggedy or something, it would cut around all those images. It would save you an awful lot of hand cutting. I can't get over how much some people have done hand cutting. I would have, if I were a card maker back then, I would have given up. I do not do a lot of hand cutting. I don't know why. I just, not really my thing. So when this is over, it will actually cut out my two images, and we can put this together so you can see. Let's have a look at it. So this is going to, by the way, I used medium cardstock to cut this out. And there are my two images ready to go on my card. Isn't that great? And this is a way for you to sort of use, and again, this is a basic part, okay? You can do all kinds of really cool things with these images, but you have to understand how to use them in your Cricut. Otherwise, you're going to be, I don't know, printing them, hand cutting them, all that stuff. So this is my basic how to use vintage images. So here you can see I've actually cut out some Thanksgiving ones, and this one here is our Halloween one. Okay, so I'm just going to, now I would add a really cutesy poem in here because I like poems, but you don't have to. Or you could put any old description on there. You can go into Design Space and pull up a sentiment that you like. But for me, I like to put my little vintagey poems in there. So, all right, I'm folding the card in half at the score line, giving it a nice score, but I didn't actually fold it. You'll do it better than me, of course, but I want to make sure the edges are nice and aligned, which this one is not so much. Okay, so there they are, and there are the mats, which I don't know. Maybe we'll use one side, one the other. Now, today I'm going to use this stuff, which is double stick tape, which has a ton of corgi hair on it. I apologize. It fell on the floor, and now it has corgi hair on it. Yours won't have corgi hair on it, unless you have a corgi. But corgi hair is just a thing you have to get used to in my house. So this is double stick tape. I did buy these. It's 1/4 inch. I bought these on Amazon. Great buy. I got like 10 rolls of this for like cheapo money. And I only use it like when I only use it when I'm gluing or doing some of these bigger images that are kind of square instead of my glue. Which I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit concerned that the Barely Art Precision Craft Glue is now, like, the refill is now not in stock, and I want to buy it. I want to buy it. So I just, I went through, did some cleaning yesterday, and I realized I have 21. This is how I am. And it's hoarder mentality, guys. I know it is. But I have 21 blades. I have 150. It's weird, I know. But I have like 150 mats. Not all of them are in good working order, but I will say about 190 of them, at least 90 of them, are brand new. I have all my glitter cardstock, thankfully. Thank you, Deborah. And I have all of my fall cardstock, and I'm going to be getting my Christmas cardstock out. And I am ready to start crafting for Christmas and the winter holiday. So I was like, I got to make sure I have glue. That was my thing. All right. So here you see what I did. I switched it up here, but I put the double stick tape on the back. And then I don't know why I don't use glue for these, but I feel like maybe because it's a printed image. Maybe it might, I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. Maybe I'm just weird. So here we go. So you can see. And put the double stick tape. Now, obviously, if you don't want to use double stick tape, don't use double stick tape. I'm not forcing you to do anything you don't feel if you don't have it even. So the way that I usually do this is I take off the other side, like with a pick or picker or whatever you call it, weeding tool, weeding thingy. I don't know. Wendy calls it a picker. I just call it a weeding tool or weeding thingy. All right, so I'm taking off the backs here like this. Let's do one at a time. And I'm going to place it so that it is even. And I'm going to do the same with my image. Oh, hey, I just wanted to ask my patrons on Patreon if you've been getting my posts for the last 2 weeks, and going forward, I'm going to be posting all of the projects we do for the week prior. On Patreon, I've been doing that with the project links and the videos links. So if you missed anything during the week. So there is our completed card. I know it's basic. This mat, it's cardstock. It's cardstock. I call cardstock and paper the same thing. I apologize, but to me, I don't know, it's easier to say paper. I just say paper. But a lot of people ask me, what kind of cardstock do I use? What kind of paper am I using? And I always use medium weight cardstock. Okay. So I do have some of the lighter and the thicker weight, but medium weight for me works really well with my Cricut and with what I do. I use the lighter stuff when I want to make envelopes. I use the thicker stuff when I want to make something sturdier, like a sign, that sort of thing. But for my cards, medium weight works. And I swear by Michael's 8.5 by 11 Recollections paper. It's just, for me, it works really well. I think even all the colors, and I know that's going to sound dumb, but some colors cut differently, and black being the one of them. Hi, Eileen. Oh, Eileen, I got a package from you. Thank you. I got a package from you. So like black always cuts weird for me. And I hear from Carol and Melody that they're the same way. I think it's the way the black is made. It's more pulpy, and it has the machines have a little bit of a hard time with it. So, and that's for every brand. It's not for just for like the Michaels brand. So this is a very basic but really adorable card, isn't it? And you've just incorporated a vintage image. Now, I dare say if you went to your local gifty shop, because that's, I go in there and look for a card that might have this. Red, yeah, red's very pulpy too. You pay a pretty penny for these cards, and that's without even embellishing them. So you can do this. Obviously, this is a smaller size. It would fit an A2 inch card, and then you can also do this larger image. I didn't do any Halloween images, but let me show you the larger image here. So I cut this out as a 5x7 inch card. That's a A7, right? I put a sentiment and folded it, then cut out just the way I showed you. I cut out this square and then this square, and then there you go. To me, I think it's really fun. I don't know. So what do you guys think? Do you like them? Do you not? Are you interested in this technique? Do you want to go further in and start doing embellishing on it? Tell me true what you want to do. Because this is something I have done, and I never kind of thought anybody else was that interested in it until somebody said, oh, I really like vintage images. And I'm like, oh, okay. I thought it was just weird. And so I never really shared it, but this to me is fun and a great way to incorporate some really old images without like stepping on anybody, because I don't think that the people that made these cards back in 1930 are probably even still around. So I don't think you're infringing on anybody's copyright laws. So you never know, though. Okay, so that's all that there is today for the class. But tomorrow, I'd like to stay with you longer because I know it's a holiday for most people. But so I can tell you for tomorrow, we are going to be doing a Thanksgiving card from Rob and Bob of a turkey that's dressed like a pilgrim. I know I've done this one before, but I just love this card, and I want to show you guys it, because the other thing is that you can send a card and then create a votive of the same image, and I'm going to show you that later on. So tomorrow we're going to do the card, and then which way? Yeah. Okay. And then at another time we're going to do the votive with that image. Okay. All right, everyone. That's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed my little class and you said hello if you were new, and you're welcome. Everybody is welcome in our group, and we encourage participation. So welcome, say hello. You'll soon become family, right? All right, everyone, take care now, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.